Uganda.
A very good evening and welcome to UBC News Tonight, today at 2 minutes past 8 p.m. My name is Sharon Chomdisha. We'll take a look at our top stories of the day. Coming up in UBC News Tonight, Museveni wishes Muslims a profitable fasting season. Government to pay Bugisu landslide victims 17 million each. And still to come, 2 Karume electricity transmission lines commissioned. Tanzania beats Cranes by 1-0 in AFCON qualifiers. A very good evening once again and welcome to UBC News Tonight. In our top stories, President Yoweri Museveni has sent a message to the Muslim community as they start the holy month of Ramadan, encouraging them to deepen their faith and draw closer to Allah. He emphasized the need for individuals and communities to strive towards both spiritual and material fulfillment by working towards peace, unity, development and socio-economic transformation. The president urged Muslim families to build prosperous lives by creating profitable enterprises in various sectors of the economy to meet their material needs and contribute to society's development. Details follow.
As you commence this holy month of Ramadan, I wish you a peaceful and blessed period of prayer and fasting. Ramadan gives you an opportunity to strengthen your faith in Allah and contemplate on His teachings in the Holy Quran. It helps you to draw closer to Allah, who is the provider of all earthly blessings. May your humble prayers to Allah trigger renewal and transformation in your lives, families, and communities.
Now moving on from that, still with President Yoweri Museveni, he has appealed to the regional procurement entities to prioritize local content by awarding government contracts to competent and qualifying local companies. Vice President Major Jessica Lupo represented the president at the ongoing EAC Procurement Forum and urged entities to advance the agenda of integration in the East African community.
This event is a great opportunity to showcase the potential of the region, considering that our country spends over $100 billion every year through public procurement. The theme for this forum is, open contracting as a vehicle for sustainable development, Open contracting has been looked at as a game changer to enhance transparency in public procurement. We want to ensure that the public has access to information about all the government projects and contracts. Uganda has shifted focus from the traditional public procurement system to electronic government procurement, EGP, as one of the key public procurement management reform initiatives to transform government service delivery. At the moment, 36 government entities are fully utilizing the system, and the country expects full rollout by the year 2025. Local content promotion is part of the NRM manifesto to foster growth and the domestic industry, increase production and support local entrepreneurs. In 2018, Uganda's Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority issued guidelines to promote local content in public procurement. A guideline on reservation schemes to promote registered associations owned by women, youth, and persons with disabilities is being finalized. I am sure that the interaction and knowledge you have shared during your stay here will help you to explore opportunities which will encourage trade in the East African community.
For coming, for joining us this morning.
In more news, the Ministry of Energy has commissioned the 132 kV Oluyo Power Substation in Oyo District, which is one of the interconnections of the 600 megawatts Karuma Hydro Power Project. The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, urged the business community to leverage on the development to spur economic and industrial transformation of the West Nile region. Details for now.
The commissioned 1 trillion shillings Karuma Oluyo substation has an installed high voltage capacity of 132 kilovoltage.
Substations, which are infrastructures that receive power from a generation plant for onward transmission or distribution to the last mile consumer. We are now commissioning it. That means that the project has got all the required establishments to receive power from Karuma substation.
The double circuit of Karuma interconnections include 55-kilometer Karuma Oluyo and Karuma Lira transmission lines.
The fact that the one unit of the generation plant was synchronized with the network yesterday, this gives us confidence that the project is actually coming to an end.
The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, assured the business community of reliable power once this infrastructure is linked to the national grid.
Just come and begin the investment, because power will be stable and it will be the required amount. If we were engaged in maize meal, in productive activities, we are coming to you. We have a program called the Parish Development Model, where we expect to see value addition centers at the parish level. That is where we are going.
Leaders in the region want special electricity connection policy to facilitate power utilization by communities.
Kole and Lira, which will spur development in the entire northern Uganda. I want to say this is the beginning of transformation of lives of the people of West Nile region.
This project of constructing Karuma interconnections has faced challenges of land acquisition, vandalism, especially damaging erected towers.
Karuma Kawanda had been completed, only that we had 5 towers vandalized, and those are going to be redone, the 5 towers. So in the entire interconnection that was set up for this project, it is only the Karuma Kawanda that has delayed because of the vandalism.
The powering of this interconnection is pending for the full operationalization of the 600 megawatt Karuma hydropower project, which is undergoing unities synchronization. The one unit of Karuma is operating with production capacity of 40 megawatts to the national grid. Abdul Nasser Lubwama for UBC.
National Resistance Movement Secretary General Richard Todong has urged Muslims to use the holy month to pray for the country and to reflect on what they are doing, which is not good. The Secretary General made these remarks at the NRM headquarters while delivering his message for the month of Ramadan.
Have begun 30 days of fasting that they embarked on Thursday this week. The National Resistance Movement Secretary General Richard Todong wished all Muslims a happy Ramadan and asked them to use the month to pray for the country.
I wish all of you Allah mercy, love, peace and reconciliation, forgiveness and prosperity in your homes. At the heart of your faith lies the values of peace, responsibility, and humanity.
Todong said that as NRM, they are working on the theme of unity, solidarity, forgiveness, and others, and urged all Muslims to avoid division and work hard to fight poverty.
Embrace unity. We preach against divisionism. We preach against all types of segregation. We promote coexistence and forgiveness. These, I believe, are values that our Muslim brothers and sisters do share strongly with the National Resistance Movement Party.
The Secretary General promised that government will continue to do its utmost to fight against these unhealthy habits that kill our culture and beliefs.
As we celebrate Ramadan, I pray and wish that we commit ourselves to the ideals and the noble cause of fighting all the vices against our community. Fight against domestic violence, gender inequality, fight against corruption, fight against poverty.
Miriam Umcha, Joseph Muyingo, UBC News.
People settled in the landslide-prone areas in Elgon region are to receive a compensation package of 17 million to relocate to areas of their choice. This program is being implemented by government with support from Give Directly, a non-government organization. We have details on this story.
Give Directly is to provide 7 million to each vulnerable household to facilitate relocation to safer places. The government of Uganda will top up the package with 10 million to make a total of 17 million to each. The Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, held a meeting today to harmonize and confirm the list of the beneficiaries.
Olagawa. Owo kulaga walabyewo. Olaba ogenda. Eyo wagenda yotya? Eyo wagenda yotya? Wazalibwayo? Bambi. Kakati obadde oyogera ne Prime Minister wa Uganda.
This marks a shift from the earlier approach where the affected persons were relocated to locations identified by the government. This included Bunambutie in Bulambuli and Chiriandongo districts. Cash transfers to the respective beneficiaries will be done through Post Bank. The Prime Minister put emphasis on verification of the beneficiaries before any cash transfers are made.
We need to scrutinize the lists together. After Give Directly has given their part, the office of the Prime Minister will also do the needful.
Vacating landslide-prone areas will be voluntary. The process will start with those willing to accept the compensation of the 17 million per landlord.
I'm happy to report that we've already censused or visited over 2,100 households in Buganda. Just a bit of a summary, Honorable Prime Minister. The sub-count is mapped so far at 12. That's 91 villages, which is a total of 2,116 households out of a targeted 2,050.
The Prime Minister appreciated the manner in which the data of the beneficiaries was captured using Google Mapping. She recommended that Google Mapping should be used to identify the parish development model beneficiaries in the country.
I've just told you, we called you yesterday, are you on your phone? Esther, yes. And then this
So you have done a good job, man.
I don't know the numbers we are dealing with, but there are two categories. One, those people who have already been affected, and then two, those who are prone, those who could be affected this evening or tomorrow.
In another development, the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, held a meeting to resolve a governance crisis in Busia District local government.
Politics is not about how many books you read. No. It's not about the knowledge you have. It's about helping people, articulating people's issues properly, and looking for solutions. Finished. Never you should have trouble with it. Not only you don't Politics is about knowing people's issues, looking for solutions. Period.
Rampant corruption allegations were identified as the leading cause of trouble in the district.
Leaders, we must swallow our pride and ego and allow Busia to move. The more we work for people, the pride for our role in government. But let us be leaders who listen.
The meeting was attended by a cross-section of Busia District Council leaders and the State Minister for Regional Cooperation, Honorable John Mulimba. Doreen Nasasira reporting for UBC News.
Thank you so much, Doreen Nasasira. In more stories, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has lauded the community-led learning initiative implemented by Strengthening Education Systems for Improved Learning Program and the Ministry of Education and Sports since 2021 with support from the United Kingdom. This was during a meeting with the British High Commissioner to Uganda held at State House, Nakasero.
Community-led learning was initiated by United Kingdom's Cecil program in response to the COVID-19 pandemic to support remedial learning for young learners, primary 1 to primary 3, and enable continuity of learning when children were not in school. It also complements learning in school for those at risk of dropout and supports children gain foundation literacy and numeracy competencies. The low-cost effective approach to remedial learning, which fully involves the communities, is implemented in 20 local governments in the West Nile and eastern regions of Uganda and has been able to support over 260 children. While meeting the British High Commissioner to Uganda, Her Excellency Kate Aire, and a team from the Cecil program at State House Nakasero, Mrs. Museveni particularly appreciated community-led learning because it happens at the grassroots level and helps to bring parents into education of their children.
First of all, it happens at the local level, at the grassroots level. It helps to bring the parents into the education of their children, which is what we've been trying to do, to convince our parents that their role is very important in the education of their children. But because this program actually goes into the community, the parents are right there. And now they are giving an opportunity to play a role. It gives the parents the confidence to know that they have a role to play in the education of their children. And when they do come in, then education is interesting for their children. The children gain confidence indeed, as the girl was saying.
The First Lady was grateful to Cecil for introducing community-led learning at the time when there was a challenge for children to access learning owing to the closure of schools during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I really value the community-led learning, and even right from the beginning, I wished we could take it across the country, but we have it in the ministry. We will see what we can do.
Her Excellency Kate Aire, British High Commissioner to Uganda, said that the United Kingdom has invested about £42 million to support foundation learning and access to affordable education for the vulnerable.
Thank you again. As you are fully aware, Honourable Minister, the UK invested around £42 million to support the foundation learning, girls' secondary school education and access to affordable education for the vulnerable. But as we worked very closely with your ministry and with you personally, Honourable Minister, we were able, in response to the COVID pandemic, to really look about how we shifted that focus of CECIL, shifted that focus of support to remedial learning through a fairly innovative approach on community-led learning program across 15 local governments.
The CECIL program, which is now in its final year and closes in September, has since 2018 been working closely with the Ministry of Education and Sports to improve quality and equity of measurable learning outcomes for girls and boys at lower primary level in Uganda. In a presentation by the National Coordinator, CECIL, Sami Musoke, said that their community-led learning ensures a maximum of 20 learners in each class, who are given 2 hours of literacy classes and 2 hours of numeracy classes per week by trained volunteer facilitators from the community. Community-led learning is implemented in Yumbe, Moyo, Adjumani, Arua, Madiokolo, Terego, Obongi, and Marachi districts in West Nile, and in Kapchora, Kweni, Buko, Sironko, Budadi, Busia, Toro municipality, and Toro districts in the eastern region. Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
Thank you so much, William. Parliament has faulted the Minister for Science and Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Msenero, for usurping the powers of her former accounting officer. This follows investigations into the Auditor General's forensic audit report on COVID-19 funds.
The Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Msenero, showed the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee 4 mice to enhance her explanation on the status of the COVID-19 local vaccine manufacturing.
So that you see the rats, the heat I think is too much. You see they are hiding. You are missing.
How many?
In here I just brought some to show you what they are.
I'm only seeing one.
The 4 mice were purchased at 8 million shillings each for use during vaccine manufacturing process in Uganda.
Before the heat was hot, so the heat.
You think if
we've now multiplied them.
I have not. They are underneath. In total, you have how many?
Yeah?
How many do you have now in Makere?
Here I have 4. I don't know how many are there. Buja kuduka now.
And you brought how many?
I brought 4.
No, from.
We bought 4.
They are not coming out. I only see one.
Now, these mice are actually, there are over 1,000 different types.
Okay.
Yeah, because although they even look the same, the ones used for vaccine, they are modified. They are genetically modified. They have some genes of human being.
Hey.
Because the normal ones, if you infect them with COVID, it doesn't make them very sick. So these ones are modified. So part of the lab animal house is to build that capacity in the country for us to pick this one and change it.
The accountability for the 31 billion supplementary budget to facilitate the vaccine manufacturing has since remained an issue, putting Dr. Monica Msenero on spot. In May 2022, a select committee of Parliament faulted Dr. Monica Msenero over corruption and failing to account for the funds. In the recent Auditor General's forensic report on the utilization of COVID-19 funds, John Mwanga asserted that Dr. Monica Musenero failed to provide accountability documents, including for Preside, Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, and the adjusted budget for the lab Animal House. Dr. Monica Musenero admits not harmonizing with the former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, David Obong, to manage part of the funds.
For purposes of the Public Finance Management Act, Obong was your boss. As long as you have anything to do with public finance, Obong is above everybody in the ministry. Okay.
I received a letter. I got the officers working to provide the documents. I gave him a call.
And you know we are dealing with an email from you. It is a personal email.
I gave him a call. He was not well at that time. That's why I make reference to that.
It is on record that part of the mismanaged funds also include for salaries of scientists who have since lost jobs, and some have already died of stress.
And we also observed that some of the issues raised were not indicated in the report presented to us. So it shows that there is a big challenge and there is no coordination between the Auditor General's office and the Permanent Secretary and the Minister in charge.
The Public Accounts Committee, Central Government, is chaired by Busiro East Member of Parliament, Medad Lubega Segona, Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Daniel Mugoya. Moving on from that, government has clarified on why the executive may sometimes take long to act on some decisions made by the legislature. Now, the government chief whip, Hamson Oboa, says that the head of state is guided by the constitution before acting on any decision made by parliament. The explanation follows cases of delayed signing of bills and endorsement of censure motions as may be passed by parliament.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded?
It may be a bill passed or a motion adopted.
Honorable Sewungu.
It may be a censure motion against an individual or even a tribute in honor of a given personality.
Prime Minister, thank you for coming.
What ought to be known is that not all decisions made by Parliament are binding to the executive.
There is where a recommendation or a resolution of Parliament is mandatory, and there is where a recommendation or resolution of Parliament is discretionary or advisory. Now, in all this, the doctrine and the principle of checks and balances are embedded in our respective laws.
This is one of the reasons why the head of state may take some time to act on some decisions. Such legislatorial decision may also include censure of a cabinet minister.
So in this case, this is what Article 118, sub-article 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda states that upon a vote of censure being passed against a minister, the president shall, unless the minister resigns his or her office, take appropriate action in the matter. Full stop.
This answer was in response to a question raised by one of the members of the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. Quite a number of issues came up, including corruption, absenteeism and non-appearance of some ministers on the floor of Parliament.
The rules of procedure for the 11th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, we amended the rule that originally required physical attendance, and we added on board virtual attendance through Zoom.
He equally expressed concern over the quality of debate in the House, calling on first-time members of Parliament to learn from colleagues.
No matter how many trainings you go through, but if at a personal level you do not take the initiative to research, on a subject matter, it may be difficult for you to understand. I personally came, I was like any other member of parliament. But I think that time I made the best usage of the parliamentary library.
It was a fruitful engagement with the parliamentary media that saw Hamson Obua pledge support towards the Farmers Circle.
The Bible says, he who is sick looks for the doctor. And you have been looking for the doctor. I think my role is to connect you now to access the doctor and ensure that whatever is earmarked for you comes your way.
The engagement between the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association and the government chief whip is done on a quarterly basis. It aims at strengthening working relationships amongst journalists, parliament and government. Henry Okurut, UBC.
We just want to take this opportunity to thank you.
Moving on from that, court has issued criminal summons against Kawempe North Member of Parliament, Mohamed Segirinya, and his two sureties to appear in court without fail. Now this followed when the accused Mohamed Segirinya failed to appear in court for now 3 times. Meanwhile, court has declined to issue an order to law enforcement to vacate the disputed land by the family of the late Yusuf Nsubuga and Tony Mutabingwa.
Buganda Road Magistrate Court, Kawempe North Member of Parliament Mohamed Segirinya is charged with one offence of incitement to violence, which he pleaded not guilty.
Let the state respond.
Although 3 witnesses have so far testified in this matter in the last court sittings, it's now the 3rd time when the accused Mohamed Segirinya has failed to appear in court for trial.
The date that the matter has been adjourned to, we shall be in position to appear together with the accused person.
Prosecution prayers were granted by Magistrate Siano Wumugisha. Court will resume on 27th March 2023 for hearing of the matter.
We are trying by all means to ensure that our counsels in the matters at Masaka High Court apply for issuance of their travel documents to enable them to travel to either Nairobi or other countries for better medication.
Prosecution alleges that Mohamed Segirinya, using his Facebook page, incited violence when he allegedly said that if they try to assassinate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, what will happen in Uganda will be 4th time than the 1994 Rwanda genocide. In another development, Tony Mutabingwa has filed a suit in High Court Land Division against the family of the late Yusuf Nsubuga following a dispute land situated at block number 244 on plot number 8705 in Kyadondo, Muyinga. On Tuesday this week, State Minister for Lands Judith Nabakooba ordered law enforcement officers to protect the land and its status quo following a dispute between the family of the late Yusuf Nsubuga and Tony Mutabingwa. Mutabingwa filed the case in High Court Land Division before Registrar Simon Chintu Zilitusa, and he wants court to declare him as the rightful owner of that dispute land. Although the case was set for hearing, this was impossible, following the delay by the plaintiff to make service to the respondents.
People have been on the land ever since they were born, inherited the land from their parents. Their parents were buried on the same land. People have been on the land ever since. To come up with now a new document purporting that you acquired the land, it's very unfortunate.
Mutabingwa, through his lawyer Paul Muchibi, had wanted court to issue an order compelling police to vacate that dispute land until the final determination of the matter. Court, however, declined.
We informed the court that police does not get involved in stealing land. It is keeping peace for both parties.
Registrar Simon Chintu Zilitusa adjourned the matter to 27th March 2023 for the respondents to file their answer to the case against them. The family of the late Nsubuga talked to the media after court.
Chovolaba ne police yamuyite atulage yagula ettaka eryo nakati tannamulaba gyali.
Tusaba kooti esala amazima pulaani zaabwe zonna ezisazeemu
balekera okugenda nga babba abantu mu ngeri y'ekisiru eno.
Meanwhile, High Court Criminal Division has set 27th March 2023 for court assessors to give their opinion in the case where Kalungi Abubeka is accused of murdering ASP Muhammad Chirumira and Resten Nalinya Mbabazi. Prosecution in this matter presented 16 witnesses and exhibits, where he prayed to court to find Kalungi Abubeka guilty with the offences. Prosecution in this matter is represented by Jatiko Thomas, and the accused is represented by lawyer Zephania Zimbe. The case is before Judge Margaret Mutonyi. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Moving on from that, the Ministry of Teso Affairs has directed all the district councils in Teso sub-region to pass an ordinance backing the existing laws that protect the senior citizens. The directive comes at a time when the civil servants in the region have been accused for mistreating elders in the public institutions while seeking for services.
Civil servants in Teso sub-region are on the spotlight of mistreating the ordinary elders while accessing government services in the public institutions.
Like yesterday I was in the hospital, health center 3. These elderly came. They are sick. But what they did, I was just standing by the window side. Here is somebody who says, the man has finished.
The vice has forced the majority of them to give up on several government programs due to harsh conditions imposed by the technical staff.
Imagine an old woman who's caretaking a grandchild, walking from the village you are tossed to Nera. Nera says, go back to your sub-county, get notification, birth certificate notification. Then you go to a bank and only of 85 years. Is it possible, really?
They have now appealed to government through the Minister of Test Affairs to come to their rescue before the condition worsens.
When we went to Navy, we used our personal money. And to the directive by the minister, and to the national day. But when we went back to the district to demand for the repayment of the money we used, they just shut us off.
The Minister of State for Test Affairs, Dr. Kenneth Ongalo Obote, implored all the district councils in the region to pass the bylaws to arrest the situation.
We should learn to respect the elders, not just because they are old, but by virtue of the fact that they don't have the strength to stand in line all day, and they are few. So if, for example, a hospital, a district passed an ordinance that whenever you are serving people, make sure that you serve elders first, and they go.
But councillors in the region claim to have many times passed the bylaws that have not been implemented.
When you go to an office which is meant to implement the ordinance that the council has passed, they talk of facilitation, they cry of fuel, they cry of so many things. And now our work is to pass. When you even go and talk in forums, it doesn't carry value.
In the same vein, they also petitioned the Minister of Test Affairs to remind the President about the pending pledges that he promised in 2019.
Those are some of the issues we are trying to follow up today. But there was no way we would jump direct to the President, but we would best use the Minister for Test Affairs.
Some of these pledges include 50 million shillings to each district elder circle, 32-seater minibus for the region, motorcycles for elders per district, and have an audience with the President. Joseph Foucault, UBC.
The Defenders Protection Initiative want non-profit organizations declassified from the list of accountable persons as required by the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2022. Yona Wangela, the Executive Director of the initiative, presented policy recommendations to the Financial Intelligence Authority requesting for the amendment of the Act.
Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2022 second schedule requires all non-government organizations and non-profit organizations declare their books of accounts to the Financial Intelligence Authority every year. This was attracted by the high-risk potential of these organizations to finance their activities.
Pose a risk in terms of money laundering and terrorism financing. So that is why the main FATF requirement is that every country should carry out a national risk assessment to determine, or an NPO risk assessment to determine which NPOs pose a risk, and then concentrate on those.
Non-profit organizations through Defenders Protection Initiative want government to consider delisting them from reporting to the authority. This request is contained in the policy brief recommendations presented to the Financial Intelligence Authority.
It reveals some level of mistrust and suspicion when it comes to terrorism financing risk related to the NPOs. Yet we've earned the public trust. Now, if NGOs are actually listed on listed as accountable person, it implies that unless the risk assessment says otherwise, that we are highly vulnerable to the risk of terrorism financing.
These organizations base their request on the International Financial Action Task Force recommendations, which disregards non-profit organizations from potential agents of money laundering.
It has interfered in operation of the NGOs in doing their good work because the accounts have been frozen, the trumped-up charges have been hanged on to the NGO actors or the organization, and the reputation damage this causes is a big one.
Based on the National Risk Assessment by the Financial Intelligence Authority, some NPOs engage in terrorism financing, which undermines national security.
Yes, because this is public information. You know that accounts were frozen and these matters were taken to court. The accounts of the NGO forum were frozen, and they took the matter to court, and court made its decision. So yes, that's one example. That
other recommendations in the policy brief calls for the Financial Intelligence Authority involvement of the non-profit organizations in risk assessment exercise and the significant sensitization of financial institutions about the risking of NPOs. Abdul Nasser Lubwama, UBC Business.
The State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, has said government is committed to improve eye health by producing competent and well-trained ophthalmic clinical officers. He was officiating the 9th graduation ceremony of the first ever ophthalmic clinical officers training school and commissioning of new campus buildings at the school in Jinja.
The increasing challenges of eye health in Uganda and beyond is soon to come to an end, following the Ministry of Education and Sports efforts to produce competent and well-trained ophthalmic clinical officers to curb the eye challenges. This follows government, through the Ministry of Education, commissioning the first ever 1.2 billion shillings ophthalmic clinical officers training school in Jinja, and also graduating over 172 clinical officers awarded certificates and diplomas.
Whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow.
The State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, appeals to religious leaders to donate land for construction of training schools. The minister, while presiding over the functions in Jinja, encouraged the clinical officers to be workers the country needs, uphold the health ethical standards, and serve in every part of the country, even in rural areas.
Please uphold the highest ethical standards and prepare to serve above self, as the Rotarians say, in any part of the country where our calling will take you, including the rural areas. You have not been trained to have to stay in Jinja City. No. You are not trained to stay only in Kampala. No. Go all over the world, particularly in the rural areas.
The Commissioner Health Education Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Musene Safina, commended government for training clinical officers to overcome challenges of eye problems and urged the officers to be kind, maintain integrity, and sincere to provide quality services.
From this side of service provision, we want people who are hardworking. We want people who are kind, who are resilient, who are patient, who are good time managers.
Some of the clinical officers promised to utilize the skills and knowledge acquired during the training.
Professional and ophthalmic clinical officer ready to serve you. Anytime when the service is needed, I'll give all the best. I thank God. So as a site server, I'll make sure nti buli muntu aina abera nesanyu oluvanyuma lw'okumakinga sure nti site ye eri safe.
Fred Kasibante compiled this report. Well, at this rate, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with business stories, international news and sports.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Barra and Jinja.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
With God, comfort replaces pain. Peace replaces confusion. Hope replaces sorrow. God loves you and knows you personally. He hears you and speaks to you in your thoughts, in your heart, and through living prophets. Come hear the words God has for you. Watch the General Conference on Sunday, 2nd of April.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. As we continue, we will look at business stories, and stakeholders in the agricultural sector have been urged to adopt and accelerate the use of solar technologies across the value chain. According to experts, this will help in the mitigation of climate change and reduce the sector's dependency on fossil fuels. This was emphasized during the Agri-Solar Stakeholder Engagement in Kampala. Take a look.
Climate change is the world's biggest environmental crisis today, evidenced by raging wildfires, unpredictable weather patterns, prolonged drought spells and heat waves. The increase in carbon emissions have led to the adoption of solar technology in order to address a wide range of needs and challenges across various agricultural activities.
Essentially, the main opportunity in front of us is we know there is a climate emergency in play. We're in a decade of climate action. We know that distributed renewable energies, including solar and related technologies, can help to mitigate for these issues on the demand and the supply side. What's missing is, where is the most urgent area from the farmer perspective, from the farmer producer perspective, the SACCO, the financiers, so on and so forth, from each key stakeholder in this ecosystem of agri-solar.
While solar energy continues to be pitched as the alternative source of energy for hard-to-reach communities, the uptake of these technologies among players in the agriculture sector is steadily growing.
Many farmers use the generators, the gasoline for fuel, but it's a bit expensive. But the solar would be easy to use because once you have all of the batteries with enough solar energy, it will be able to give you a strength to pump the water from the water source to the garden. And during this dry spell, when there is no rain, you are able to have crops doing very well.
The Agri-Solar Stakeholder Engagement sought to map out the challenges impeding the adoption of solar energy and develop practical solutions to unlock the massive untapped technology opportunities.
What we're doing today is to essentially figure out from the farmer's perspective what's been stopping them from utilizing these modern technologies. Is it a lack of knowledge or awareness of what they are and what they do or how to access them? Is it an issue around, how do I actually go ahead and deploy it, or what instance or improvement will it make on what I'm producing? What is that key thing from a farmer perspective that has kept them from embracing these things actively?
Because we want to create sustainable income streams, sustainable revenues for households, and of course to also help the youth, to look at agriculture as one of sustainable employment avenues.
As the Continental Free Trade Agreement opens new markets and demand for agriculture produce increases, it's crucial that new equitable business models are developed to make the consumption of solar technologies more affordable, accessible, and viable for smallholder farmers. Charlotte Amuge and Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Jerry con! Jerry con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerry con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! Best school fees I teach you. When I'm going to the school, because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Eh? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuses to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Barra and Jinja.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 100 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 100 star 10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 100 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
You're still watching UBC News Tonight. In international stories, Ukrainian President Zelensky has returned to the front line near Bakhmut, where fighting has raged for months. The devastated city has long been a focal point of the Russian war forces, and they have tried to revive their military campaign in the east. His visit came as Russian forces launched a series of strikes on Ukrainian cities. At least 8 people who were killed near Kyiv and Zaporizhzhia have died. Ukraine's military said it shot down 16 drones, but another 5 got through. 7 people died in an attack on student dormitories near the capital, and then a rocket slammed into a block of flats in the southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia, leaving 1 dead and 25 wounded. Local leaders said the number of victims could rise. While President Zelensky condemned Russia's bestial attack on civilians, he also visited the eastern front line, where Ukrainian forces have held Russia at bay for more than 7 months. He last visited the area in December. Footage released by the president's office showed him in an old industrial warehouse giving medals to battle-weary soldiers.
With freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial star 100 star 21 hash or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Well, in our sports news, not very good news. Uganda has lost 1-0 to Tanzania in the African Cup of Nations qualifier home game that was played at the Suez Canal Authority Stadium in Ismailia, Egypt. Both the Cranes and the Taifa Stars started off slow, playing a few pacey games and ending the first 45 minutes 0-0 with a few chances from both sides. In the second half, the heat was turned up with Tanzania proving the better side, creating more chances and eventually getting a goal from Simon Suva in the 68th minute. Uganda tried to come back with substitutes Isma Mugulusi and Alan Okello trying to find the goal. However, the opportunities were not clinically enough to give Uganda a goal. Tanzanian defenders Bakari Nonodo and Novetas Dismas proved a headache to the Cranes, strikers blocking a number of balls from reaching the goal. In the end, Tanzania came out top with 1-0 and all the 3 points. Uganda last qualified for the African Cup of Nations in 2017 after 39 years. Uganda will play Tanzania in Dar es Salaam this month on the 28th of March 2023. Thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight. That started off at 2 minutes past 8 p.m. and we've come to an end with just 1 minute to 9 p.m. My name is Sharon Chondrisha. Have a lovely night, and you can as well join me once again at 10 p.m. for more news coming your way. But you can stay tuned for more programming coming your way as well. Bye-bye.